First and foremost, we always like to give praise and honor to the God of Israel, of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Today is the Feast of Pentecost, or some call it the Feast of Weeks. Some call it the Feast of First Fruits, well, the book called it these three types of feasts. But what these feasts are, like all the God feasts, they're talking about Jesus and his children that are called to the resurrection. And God wants us to make sure that we remember the feast, not just for eating, but the feast is telling a great story. And that story involves us who are keeping the feast of the Lord. And this hour, about 8 times, I think, 7 or 8 times keeping this feast. And each year, I learn more and more about the feast of God. And you got so many people in the world today who really looks at these feasts and just look at them like that was the old way of doing things. We got the New Testament way of doing things. But I'm here to tell you, they're in the New Testament also. And we want to make sure that we understand God's word, so he will look in our minds and see that those are my children, they understand me. I'm going to call them up in the resurrection. So I want to make sure that you understand that. Don't think that you're doing something that is not counted for towards your salvation. This is counted. Every time we keep these feasts, they give one little inch closer to salvation. So we're going to start in Colossians chapter 2. Colossians chapter 2. Colossians chapter 2 and verse 16. Because you have many people in the churches thinking that these feasts are not important. They are very important. Don't let nobody take your crown. Don't let anybody take your crown. Your crown is more precious than gold, more precious than anything in the world to you. And for the new people that are here, just keep coming. It'll come to you. Hey, we didn't get it on the first try. We have to keep studying. Colossians chapter 2, we're going to start with verse 16. Go ahead.
Let no man therefore judge you in meat, or in drink, or in respect of an holy day.
Yes, sir.
Or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath days.
Most of the Sunday Christian would take you here and say, you don't supposed to judge me because I don't keep the holy days, I don't keep all these holy days. That's talking to us. Let no man judge you of meat, drink, in respect of holy day, because we keeping the holy day, we respecting it. And how do we respect it? We follow the ordinance of these holy days. And today we are here for the Feast of Pentecost. Go ahead.
Which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ.
This feast day, these feast days, all of them are a shadow, meaning that they mirror Christ. Christ had to come to this earth and act out his part in the feast. And we're going to touch on that and show you that he is all in this feast, all in the book. It's all about Christ and his first fruits and his children. He said, verse 17, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. All these feasts that we are taking, all these feasts that we are keeping, they shadow in Christ. Amen. Christ is the main ingredient in the feast. Without him, we cannot have salvation. Now let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 16. With that, go one more verse. Sorry about that, one more verse. Verse 18, the main one I want to get to. Go ahead.
Let no man beguile you of your reward in a voluntary humility and worshiping of angels.
He said, let no man beguile you or trick you out of your reward. Anybody, man, if a man walk upon the earth or an angel, do not let him trick you. And Satan had tricked a lot of men inside of these Sunday churches, that they don't have to keep the holy days of God. Don't let no man or worshiping of angels beguile you or trick you. These are very important. Very important. Go ahead.
Intruding in those things which he has not seen,
Yes, sir.
vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind.
Don't get vainly puffed up in your fleshly mind. Don't think that this is not accounted for. This is accounted towards your salvation. Don't let nobody take your crown away from you. Keep studying. Keep working. Every day, sun up to sundown, you keep working. It's not like a job you can clock in and clock out. This thing is 24/7. It's rolling. You got to have it in your dreams. You got to have it at your work site. You got to keep these laws and statutes in your mind to help you. And most of all, God helps us. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 16. This is a commandment. We got to keep these feasts. Deuteronomy 16 and verse 16. Go ahead, brother.
3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose.
Yes, sir.
In the feast of unleavened bread,
Yes, sir.
and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles. And they shall not appear before the Lord empty.
He said, 3 times a year you must appear to take part of these feasts. That's the feast of unleavened bread, which is we kept. The Passover is unleavened bread, and the 14th day was the Passover, which we did March the 30th. And then we kept the 15th day, which is March the 31st, which is the feast of unleavened bread. Now we're going down to this day, which is the Feast of Weeks, which is Pentecost. These are the days that we are keeping. Then we're going to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. We're rolling in order here. He said, no, everybody should show up with something. Don't show up empty. Bring some cups. Bring a penny, a dime, nickel, whatever. Because it's a commandment that you must do something on this feast. Everybody. So make sure you understand that. It's not what I'm saying, it's what the book said. That what the book said, right?
Amen.
He said, not appear before the Lord empty. And most of us, a lot of Israelites, they like to appear for some food. Not saying y'all, but they like to appear for some food. There's some food on the table, they coming. And they ain't bringing nothing to the party. Go ahead, brother.
17. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessings of the Lord thy God, which he has given thee.
He gives you a job. Some of us he gives businesses. Some of us he gives us different type of ways to help with the feast. You decide how you want to help. All year long, these feasts should be on your mind like, okay, I know I got to bring something. I know I got to prepare. And a lot of us are not preparing. We don't like to prep for stuff. This is how you get stuff sneak up on you when you don't prep for stuff. He wants us to prep for it. This not telling us this to say, okay, we done this feast and that's it. I'm thinking about the next feast. What we gonna do next feast? How I'm gonna get this thing constructed? How I'm gonna prepare, make sure everything is taking place right. Because God looking at me. More so to y'all, make sure I get y'all here. Make sure I tell you what this feast is all about. So I won't be judged. I don't want to be judged harshly. I don't. So these feasts, 3 feasts, we must appear. And don't get it twisted. A lot of people say, well, you need to go to Jerusalem. Jerusalem for these feasts. He said in Ezekiel chapter 11, he said, I'll be a little sanctuary to you in your enemy's land.
That's right.
In all these places, we should take the feast wholeheartedly. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23 and get to it. These are the feasts of the Lord, which is Jesus. And you got a lot of people that's in church today on a Sunday thinking that they praising the Lord right. And Pentecost always falls on Sunday. This is the only time we come, only time mandatorily it falls on the Sunday. Pentecost always falls on the Sunday. And my mom called me that morning. She said, oh, you going to church today, huh? I said, yeah. I guess we all can go to church on the same day, which is Sunday. I said, yeah. I said, but I'm going to church for the right reason, to keep Pentecost. That's what I'm going to church for on a Sunday for. So let's look at these feasts and see, are we doing it correctly? Verse 1, Leviticus 23 and 1. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord,
Yes, sir.
which ye shall proclaim, to be holy convocations.
This is, go ahead.
Even these are my feasts.
Who feasts are these?
The Lord.
Jesus' feasts. These are his feasts. He said, you shall proclaim them in their seasons. Meaning that they have a right time of year that we must keep this feast. Go ahead.
6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest.
Yes, sir.
And holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
This is the weekly Sabbath. The 6th day you've been working on the Sabbath shall be a Sabbath. That's a holy day. He said you should not work on the day. And these feasts right here, which is Feast of Pentecost, we're not supposed to go to our job. We're supposed to take off. That's why I give you calendars so you can go and ask your boss, can I have these days off? So you can be prepared in the future. Don't let it come up on you. I'm preparing you by giving you the dates. Go ahead.
Verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
We're proclaiming it in their seasons. What season is that? Abib, spring, when everything grows back. He said count 14 days from the new moon, that's when we have Passover at sundown. Then the next day we have the 15th day, that's when we have Feast of Unleavened Bread. Then from this Feast of Unleavened Bread for 7 days, we get to Pentecost. We count 7 Sabbaths. That's all Pentecost is. It just means 50 days. That's all it means. It's giving us our count. This is the calendar of the Lord right here in Leviticus 23. This is when the year starts. Not in January, as most people think. You get the year start in the spring, in Abib. Go ahead. Yeah, skip down to verse 9.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof,
Yes, sir.
then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest.
This is what Israel did. The sheaf of the first fruit. When they came into the land, when we came out of Egypt, God gave the children of Israel the land of Canaan. He said, when you come to the land, this is what I want you to do. Give me the first fruits of harvest of everything you have and proclaim it in this time of the year, which is Pentecost. And these first fruits, the sheaf, all pertain to Jesus and us who makes it in the resurrection. I'm going to show you. Keep going.
And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you. On the morrow, after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. This is what he said. He shall wave the sheaf.
He said, he shall wave the sheaf of the Lord to be accepted on the morrow after the Sabbath. What is the sheaf? It's the first fruit of all their crops. They're giving the best of everything in the bundle. That's all the sheaf is, a bundle. And the priest had to take it and wave it before the Lord. That's how Jesus is. When he went to the Father, he had to wave himself before the Lord. And he waved us before the Lord.
Come on.
Let me show you something. We're going to go back to the holy spot. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Let me show you how these first fruits are brought before the Lord is Jesus and the people in the first resurrection. Matthew chapter 24, verse 29. Everything is dealing with Jesus and the resurrection. You can't get around it if you got some understanding in this book, but you have to have some knowledge of the Holy Day. Matthew chapter 24, verse 29. Let me show y'all who are these first fruits first, so you'll know that this feast is a shadow of good things to come. He tells a story in his feast. He tells a story in his feast about him and his people. Verse 29. Go ahead.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened.
Yes, sir.
And the moon shall not give her light. And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Yes, sir. We know that this is the time of the 7 trumpets, when it's blowing. Go ahead.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
Yes, sir.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
This is when Jesus is coming back after the tribulation period. After, not before, as they teach you in these churches about the rapture. It's after.
That's right.
Now let's see what he does after. See if it lines up with his holy days. With the Feast of Pentecost we're talking about. Go ahead, verse 31.
And he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet.
Yes, sir.
And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
What did the Lord tell the priests? Go and tell them to gather all the first fruits of the land and bring it to the priest. This is the same exact thing. He told his angels to go to gather together his elect.
That's right.
Those are the first fruits.
Amen.
It's lining up with the feast days, with Pentecost. This is what I'm trying to get to show you. Now let's go back to Leviticus chapter 23 and read this so men understand. And they should gather his elect. This is the first one. It's from the four winds, which is the four corners of the world. All over the world, they're going to gather. God going to gather his people. Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 10. All these feasts are centered around Jesus, and he's shadowing it, or he coming back to fulfill what he's supposed to do in these feasts. We waiting on this time now. This is the resurrection. What we waiting on. Verse 10, go ahead.
Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest.
What did God tell the angels do? Go gather his elect, the first one.
Amen.
Bring them to me, so that I can wave them before, just like we get caught up in the air, and get our heavenly bodies. This is what he's talking about. Go ahead.
And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you.
Yes, sir.
On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it.
This is when he waving it. Go ahead.
And ye shall offer that day, when ye wave the sheaf, and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord.
He said, after you wave the first of the first fruits of the land, which is the people in the first resurrection, then he said, now you got to go and get me a he lamb without blemish. This is Christ right here. Christ right here. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 19. Let me show y'all how Jesus is the he lamb. All this lining up with him. That's why I don't understand how people don't accept Jesus Christ. All these Muslims, well, he's just a simple prophet. I said, okay, this is your Savior right here. All these feasts lining up, they lining up correctly if you got some understanding. 1 Peter chapter 1, we saw verse 19. Let me show y'all how this he lamb was a shadow of Jesus. They both helped us. They helped us back then when you had to take the blood of the he lamb and have for remission of sin. Now Jesus came and died on the cross. They helped us in the future. 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 19. Go ahead.
But with the precious blood of Christ, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot.
This is Christ. He's a representation of the lamb. He didn't have blemishes. Just like when Israel had to get a lamb, they had to get a perfect lamb without any blemish. Christ represented this lamb when he came. What he did, go ahead.
Who verily was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you.
He knew his job. He had to die. He had to follow the Leviticus chapter 23. He got to die for us. Go ahead.
Who by him do believe in God, that raised him up from the dead,
yes, sir,
and gave him glory, that your faith and hope might be in God.
This is why we keep the feast. And we go through there and read with some understanding, we realize that Jesus is this he lamb. When people say, well, you got to get a lamb. If you're going to keep it all, keep the lamb, you got to do a blood sacrifice. No, Christ said, I died once for all. In these feasts, we put Christ there where blood sacrifices are mentioned.
That's right. Amen.
Let's go back to Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 12. We just read with understanding. All these feasts are a shadow of Jesus. And we talking about Pentecost, or the Feast of Weeks. Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 12. Let's look at this he lamb again. Read with some understanding. Go ahead.
And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheep and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord.
What did they call Jesus in 1 Peter? A he lamb without blemish. The same exact thing. He fulfilling the law. He got to fulfill the law. These laws, these feast days are a shadow of him, a representation of him. Jump down to verse 15. Go ahead.
And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath.
Yes, sir.
From the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete.
Now when we count, after we get through the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is the last day, we count tomorrow after that Sabbath. We count 7 Sabbaths.
That's right.
If you count 7 Sabbaths at 49 days, and then he said plus 1 means 50. This is how we end up today. Pentecost always comes on the morrow after the Sabbath, as it reads. Go ahead.
Even unto the morrow after the seventh Sabbath shall ye number 50 days.
Yes, sir.
And ye shall offer new meat offering unto the Lord.
So we count 50 days or 7 Sabbaths after the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And this is how we come up with our count for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We know what we're doing. People in the world don't know what they're doing. We know exactly. Go ahead.
Ye shall bring out of your habitation 2 wave loaves of 2 tenth deals.
Yes, sir.
They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baked with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Lord.
And these 2 loaves that are baked with leaven, that's us. The first fruits. All this is representing Jesus and his first resurrection. Baked with leaven. What is leaven? What leaven represents?
Sin.
Sin. Don't we have sin on us?
Yes.
We have to have Christ to get our sins forgiven. I'm just showing y'all how they match up in the Old Testament just as well as the New Testament. So these people won't come and tell you, oh, that's been done away with. We ain't doing that no more. Yes, we are. Let's go finish with that. Jump down to verse 21. Show you the instruction of the feast. Verse 21, go ahead.
And ye shall proclaim on the selfsame day, that it may be an holy convocation unto you.
Yes, sir.
Ye shall do no servile